I am Tarık Toros and welcome to What's Happening in Turkey. We've just wrapped up the first month of 2025, a month defined by arrests, detentions, investigations, police raids and dismissals in Turkey. These latest events have not only shaken domestic politics but have also drawn significant international attention, raising broader questions about the country's future on the global stage. A month of turmoil. The editor-in-chief of a TV channel close to the main opposition party was arrested. Meanwhile, in a separate headline-grabbing development, one of the biggest drug busts in recent years had ties to Turkey. The French Navy seized 9 tons of cocaine, worth an estimated $3 billion on a ship owned by a Turkish shipping company in the French Caribbean. Let's dive deeper into these stories. Turkey, without an opposition? At the start of 2025, Turkey's president unveiled a new slogan, a terror-free Turkey. Under this banner, the government has launched an extensive legal campaign aimed at eliminating the last voices of dissent, a move being closely watched by international human rights organizations and Turkey's NATO allies. Goals of the crackdown. 1. Full control of media and social networks. Turkey's media environment has been steadily shrinking under government pressure. Now, authorities appear determined to quash what little remains of independent or opposition-aligned voices. 2. Removing political rivals. Another priority is sidelining potential presidential candidates who could challenge the ruling party in upcoming elections. İmamoğlu, widely seen as the strongest opposition figure, has served as mayor of Istanbul since 2019. Before the 2023 elections, he was convicted for allegedly insulting a member of the Supreme Election Council. İmamoğlu maintains that his remarks were taken out of context, but if the conviction is upheld, he'll lose his mayoral position and be barred from running for president. New legal moves against İmamoğlu suggest no slowdown in the government's efforts. 2 fast-track investigations were launched in the past week alone, accusing him of targeting a prosecutor and a court-appointed expert. When he appeared at the courthouse for questioning last Friday, thousands of his supporters gathered outside, echoing concerns of a show trial orchestrated by political interests. Even more telling was the show of support from Ankara's mayor, Mansur Yavaş, another opposition figure who may emerge as a potential presidential candidate in 2028. Their alliance could signal a new united front against government pressure. Raid on a pro-opposition TV station. The arrest of Halk TV's editor-in-chief, Suat Toktaş, came on the heels of a controversial broadcast. Monday, Ekrem İmamoğlu called a press conference questioning the repeated use of the same court-appointed expert in cases against him. Tuesday, Halk TV aired a phone conversation with that same expert. Within hours, police raided the station. 5 journalists were detained, and Suat Toktaş, who took full responsibility for the segment, was arrested by the end of the day. These swift arrests have sent a chilling message to other media outlets, many of which have begun to self-censor for fear of facing similar retaliation. Crackdown on critics intensifies. Turkey's judiciary, often criticized for being aligned with the government, has wasted no time prosecuting anyone perceived to be targeting prosecutors or court-appointed experts. The fallout has further eroded trust in a judicial system already under scrutiny from the EU and various international watchdogs. The crackdown isn't limited to journalists. Historians, writers, and social media influencers have also been targeted. Most recently, President Erdogan ordered the arrest of historian and writer Çiğdem Bayraktar after she shared a post on X. All of this comes amid heightened concern about Turkey's commitment to democratic norms, an issue that has prompted renewed discussion among its Western allies about possible sanctions or other measures. With the latest arrests, the number of jailed journalists in Turkey is now nearing 40, according to international press freedom groups. $3 billion drug bust. In a separate development with major international ramifications, the French Navy seized 9 tons of cocaine aboard the Haliç Quality, a vessel owned by a Turkish shipping company near Martinique in the French Caribbean. The drugs, valued at more than $3 billion, underscore Turkey's emerging role in global drug trafficking, a trend experts link to political corruption and the country's ongoing economic crisis. This marks the 5th major drug bust involving Turkish-owned vessels in 3 years, bringing the total haul to over 25 tons of narcotics worth roughly $10 billion. Officials in Europe and the United States are closely monitoring the situation, noting that insufficient inspections at Turkish ports may be contributing to this worrying pattern. Third-party processing in passport control. As we move further into 2025, more countries are tightening their border control policies, raising additional hurdles for international travelers, including Turkish citizens. Case in point, the UK. The 11th of March 2025, all foreign travelers, including diplomatic passport holders, will need pre-travel authorization. The 2nd of April 2025, even visa-exempt travelers, such as EU and US passport holders, must apply for an electronic travel authorization before arriving in the UK. These measures aim to bolster security and streamline immigration processing. However, they also reflect a broader global trend toward more restrictive travel policies, something that directly impacts business people, students, and tourists from Turkey. Shocking passport control in Barcelona. An incident at Barcelona airport has raised eyebrows among Turkish travelers. A separate passport control line was set up specifically for arrivals from Turkey, Ukraine, and Egypt. Travelers from these 3 countries were processed at a different counter, prompting concerns about potential discrimination and foreshadowing further travel restrictions across Europe. Though Spanish officials say the move is poorly operational, many see it as part of an emerging pattern, one that could lead to more stringent entry measures throughout the EU. 2 scenarios. With the political landscape shifting dramatically, observers both inside and outside Turkey are asking, is this an orchestrated effort by Erdogan to solidify power, or could it spur a wave of resistance that ends up revitalizing the opposition? 1. A strategy to silence the opposition. Tightening media control. Raids on critical TV stations and journalists' arrests could be part of a broader campaign to shape the national narrative. Neutralizing rivals. By targeting influential political figures and disqualifying them from running for office, Erdogan could aim to secure his hold on the presidency. Divided opposition. Internal friction within opposition parties might make it easier for the government to marginalize dissent further. 2. A stronger, more resilient opposition. Heightened visibility. Figures like İmamoğlu are receiving widespread coverage, even internationally, potentially rallying new supporters against what is increasingly viewed as authoritarian governance. Unified front. Escalating government pressure may bring together traditionally fragmented opposition groups, forming a broader democratic coalition. International scrutiny. Stronger global backlash could also provide diplomatic leverage for the opposition, forcing the government to reconsider its heavy-handed tactics. Conclusion. As 2025 unfolds, the fate of Turkey's democratic institution hangs in the balance. International reactions from European capitals to Washington remain pivotal, with some analysts suggesting that Turkey could face new sanctions or tougher conditions in its long-standing, though largely stalled, EU accession process. If the public and opposition parties mobilize, we could witness a surge of resistance that transforms Turkish politics in unforeseen ways. If disunity persists, the government may succeed in consolidating power, driving dissent further underground. I am Tarık Toros, and this has been What's Happening in Turkey. Join me next week as we continue examining the headlines shaping Turkey and resonating far beyond its borders.